And it goes on. Welcome back to Big Silly Goose Gaming, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about what's next for gaming consoles, basically. After the success of the Nintendo Switch 2, I'm sure PlayStation and Xbox are all really excited about what they're working on and what they're going to come out with next. It's a little bit, I don't want to say like necessary for them, because they don't have to come out with a new console if they don't, especially if they can't like over deliver, I guess. But it's hard to get excited about a new console in the same way that like I guess people are excited about the Nintendo Switch 2, because there was some real potential with the Nintendo Switch 2. But I guess a lot of people felt like it was the same old. It wasn't really that big of an upgrade, and I guess that's going to be the direction of these next gaming consoles, basically. If they don't find a new way to like a new gimmick to create, you know, to play their video games on, then it might feel a bit, I don't know, what's the right word? Like a waste of their customers' money if they can't provide something new. Now, the Nintendo Switch 2 obviously created some new updates for, you know, the Nintendo Switch that needed to be there. And I don't know, I guess what is missing in the PlayStation 5 or in the Xbox One or whatever that they need to recreate or reinvent, you know? What is their next solution going to be? And that's the question, is that like, what are they going to offer that's brand new? I feel like video games are in a really good place where it's like perfect, you know what I mean? It's like they have the controls all set up for you, they got everything has been decided in video games, basically. It's all a matter of like how you fit into the parameters. I guess the video games are the really big one, and then the company's gonna force your hand and say that like it's only gonna be available on whatever, on this console, you know what I mean? So they push out the old stuff, which is what they're gonna do with the Nintendo Switch 2. The Nintendo Switch had its time. They're going to move over to the Nintendo Switch 2, and they're going to make the transition like, alright, this new game's coming out of the Nintendo Switch 2, and if you don't get it, you're going to miss out on this new game. So I guess that's control that they have to get you to buy their next thing, you know? I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but what can they really entice us with, you know? What's going to be the next game? And maybe that's why they kind of delayed GTA 6, you know, so that way they have a new something to work with. But I don't know if PlayStation's going to come out with the PlayStation 6 next year. I think they would have already teased it if they were. But looking at how Nintendo Switch 2 came out and how that worked out for people, it's no surprise, or it's going to be no surprise when they do the same thing that they're doing and hiking up prices and making it like a crazy, you know, making the video games like really expensive and stuff. So it looks like that's the direction that they might be going in, and it is the new direction of whatever, of PlayStation, of Xbox, and the video game business. And it's disappointing, but I'm hoping that eventually they're going to figure out a new way to play video games, a new console that's going to be worthy of, you know, really spending your money on like it was back in the day. Like, it was an upgrade to go from the PlayStation 1 to the PlayStation 2, and then PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3. And then I think the 4 was an upgrade. 5? I don't know. I think the 5 is where we started to see that like, alright, they're just coming out with basically the same old. I can't, you know, the PlayStation 4 did really well. I thought that they really nailed it with that one. So I don't know, it's hard to say exactly what they could do differently with that kind of a thing, you know? Whereas the Nintendo Switch 2 is like, they've had the Nintendo Switch out there, and that's such a great idea, such a great design. A handheld console that could also be attached to your TV that could be hooked up, you know? I think that's a really cool idea and design, and so they really struck gold with that. But now it's, I don't know, it's gonna be a little old in a few years, I guess. It's about to be the exact same as people were feeling about the Nintendo Switch 2. They're going to be begging for updates or a new way to do stuff, so we'll have to see. But I was just curious of like what's next for them, you know? What's the future of this going to look like? Is it going to be more of the same, or is it going to really update, change, you know? I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. We'll see. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you.